it's not doing the intro video. There we go.
We're rolling.
It says it's up there.
Well, no, I guess I
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Nerdbuzzed.
Nerdbuzzed doesn't condone the consumption of alcohol by any persons under the age of 21. Please drink responsibly.
See all these windows?
Welcome to Nerdbuzzed, the podcast where we talk about all the nerdy stuff that we care about and drink a cool frosty brew while we're doing it. At least one of us does.
Yeah. Hi, Tam Tam.
Yeah. So it's just me here today. With
Yeah, just
Jack.
him. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Well,
sorry.
I'm the one that matters, obviously.
Whatever. Let's get on with the show.
So
Sick and tired already.
it's Halloween. So first off, happy Halloween to everybody out there.
We didn't dress up.
No.
No.
We're podcasters, obviously. We dress up every week just for the
Your
show.
wife called me a gay lumberjack,
A gay lumberjack.
and I'll take that as a compliment. Hi, Jeremiah.
Nice. My wife is brutally
It's weird
honest.
not being in the corner. I don't like it.
Yeah, don't get too cozy.
Yeah. Get the headphones.
So this episode we're just going to kind of do what we want. We're going to break some rules. I'm going to drink the same Kirkland IPA that I drank during our Chaos Get Drunk
Kirkland.
episode.
Kirkland IPA.
It's an awesome,
ridiculous.
It's awesome. If you really want a good variety of beers that are really, really good, just kind of the basics of those beers, but done really well, totally get the Kirkland pack. It's awesome. It's only $20 for 24 beers, which is ridiculously cheap, and they're all really good.
That is less than $1
It is.
for a beer. If I'm doing my math correctly.
With your
I'd like to
young
think I
brain,
am.
I hope so.
I'm in Calculus 3.
So
nice
this
class.
episode, we're just going to talk about Red Dead.
Mhm.
I've been playing the crap out of it. Jay's been playing the crap out of it. I don't think I've had, in the longest time, I have not had a game come out where almost half of my friends on my friend list are all playing that game.
It's ridiculous. Like everyone, I'm in a Snapchat group with all my boys, right? Represent, and they're all playing it. They're all talking about it, or most of them are at least. And it's weird.
And even
Yeah.
on my friends list, they're all friends from different games, right? That I'll play online or whatever. So I have like my 3 friends that I play whatever game with, and then another 3 friends for a different game. But all of those people are playing Red Dead. So we've even like crossed genres with people and everything. Everybody's playing it.
It seems weird, or how much did it sell? Right, like way more than GTA did.
I heard it sold.
Hey, Dad.
Yes, Dad's here. Good to see you, bro. And Tam Tam and Jeremiah, of course. We miss you, bro. It sold over 10 million copies and made over $750 million within the first 3 days, which I was corrected is actually $100 million less than what GTA made. GTA 5.
In the first 3 days or week?
Like within its first, I think it still counts as like it. So it still officially holds the record, but it's still insane, right?
Yeah,
like
it's ridiculous.
When some games come out, they sell 1 million copies, and that's like this, wow, we made it. Like, that was great for us. They've already sold 10 million. Over that. That's insane. Yeah, they're the second highest money-making entertainment property, like, for an opening weekend of all time. The only thing that beats it is GTA 5. That's insane. Rockstar already
the top
did
2
it again.
spots.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous. Yeah, that's honestly insane.
And even GTA 5 is just the top money-making entertainment property ever.
Yeah,
of
no,
all
it's
time.
it's weird.
Yeah.
And I actually thought that I didn't think Red Dead 2 was gonna blow up this much. Like I saw a few trailers. It didn't seem like they did a lot of marketing, but I think they didn't really need to because they just like show a small trailer and everyone's like, whoa, right?
Oh, everybody was already going to buy this.
Yeah.
Like I think if you're at all a Red Dead 1 fan, right, or if you're a Rockstar fan. I even think there's a lot of just GTA people, Rockstar in general. If you're that guy, this was already on your list of games to get. I think even for people that weren't, this was on their their list to get for the year.
You know, my boss bought a PS4. He played it like once, and then 2 people that I work with just convinced him to just buy a PS4, and he got like the Red Dead edition. It's like, oh my god,
nice.
That's something I want to ask you about, whether that's worth it or not. But
okay,
we'll get into that. What are you drinking?
So before we get into all that, of course, as always, thank you so much for everybody that's joined us already. Thank you for everybody that joins us and listens all week. It really does make the difference for us. We sleep better at night. We really appreciate it. So please keep watching. Tell your friends. Like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Mash the button. And before we dive into Red Dead,
Yep.
of course, because we got it. It's how we start the show.
Oh God. Wait. Okay. I
Ready?
have to-
To all the nerds,
Through all the fuzz, bottoms up.
Let's get Nerdbuzzed. Blankety with
I heard.
love.
Well, I heard it from the. Oh my God. It was loud. Sorry if that shattered anyone's eardrums. Ooh, good water.
I don't think explosions are supposed to be quiet.
Well,
There is a such thing as terrible water. We
There-
just went to
sulfur water.
Well, we just went to Ocean Shores for our anniversary. Me and my wife.
Yeah.
The water in Ocean Shores tastes salty.
Yum yum. Well, they just have. Where else are they supposed to get it from?
Yeah, right. I mean, it
There's a
makes sense.
Huge source. Just
But it literally tastes salty.
That's
it's
weird.
weird. It's really
yeah,
weird.
that's not good.
It's like if you put salt in the water, like that.
I don't think.
salty.
I don't think that's. I don't think we're supposed to drink water like that. But I mean, what do I know?
Yeah, I don't know.
What do I know?
There's some saltwater intrusion for sure
Yeah.
going on there. So anyway, Jack does not have Red Dead, but he's been hearing all
Do not-
about it. I have it. I've
Didn't
been
even play the
just
first one.
cracking out on it really hardcore.
Yeah.
Like I said, all my friends have. So we're not really going to do a full-on review this episode. I want to save that for when we have everybody that's played it. I'm going to play it for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Really feel it out. Get some of the other guys in here. But I want to do it from the perspective of somebody that hasn't played it yet, really.
And a little skeptical on buying it. I don't know if it's for me. Like I've
Yeah.
watched my dad play it a little bit, but I have a lot of questions.
So I think I want to encourage anybody out there. Jeremiah restarted again. It's like his third time of restarting. Not all of them by choice.
Wait, the second one?
His
Wait.
he restarted the second one.
Did he beat
might
it?
correct me if I'm wrong if he can type fast enough. But he started playing it. Then he played it with a friend, so he started it over for him so he could see it from the beginning because he wasn't very far. But he got the bundle with the Pro in it, right? And when he transferred everything over to the Pro, he lost all his stuff, and so he started it
Oh
again.
my God.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure he's not that angry about
He
it.
could probably at least answer, is it still worth it, Jay? And are you glad that you've had to restart it 3 times? So we'll see if we
I'm
get
actually interested. I want to hear because he really has that really nice story about how he would walk or he'd like ride on that like mountaintop on the plateau.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
sun setting behind him. I want to see if like he's captured that same moment.
if
in
it's scratching that itch.
in Red Dead Redemption 2. Interesting.
So the way we're just going to handle this one is like first impressions. If anybody out there has a question that you'd like to get my interpretation on, I'm right now about halfway through the story of the game.
Oh wow. Well,
So I can answer questions up to that far. I'm not going to...
not yet.
I'm not going to reveal any major spoilers, so I'll try to stay away from that. But I'm just going to let Jack ask me some questions about it. Feel free to ask questions up there. We'll try to pay attention to that. So go ahead, Jack. Fire away.
So my
Let's do
first
this.
one, I know this is probably obvious. I'm not okay. I'm not asking if it's a prequel because I obviously know it is.
Yeah.
But does it feel like a sequel game or a prequel game? And I hope you know what I mean. Like,
I think the safest way to answer that question is yes, because as
It
far
feels like
as
a
far as the
sequel?
it
or
feel,
prequel?
it definitely feels like a prequel, and it feels like a prequel. So Jay says it's super pretty, but that major ridge ride in the sunset, he hasn't done that yet.
Yeah.
And absolutely,
Horses suffer when they take enough.
they do suffer.
Yeah.
And you can just flat out kill someone's horse and watch them fall over the front of it, and it's great. I've done that a lot of times.
That's pretty. Okay, that's pretty cool.
There's some cool horse stuff that you can do. So the game itself, like the mechanics and obviously the visuals and just the way the game works, totally feels like a sequel. Right?
Okay.
Like it's vastly improved.
That's
over
the most
other
important
one.
part.
It is.
of feeling like
It's
a
a
sequel.
better game than the first game as
Okay.
far as that stuff goes. As far as the story goes, it's very much a prequel, and within the first, I want to say. It depends on how much running around you do, I guess, but it could be within the first 15 minutes of the
yeah,
game.
I know what you're talking about.
It already
Establish
reminds you
itself.
it's a prequel.
Yeah.
So, which I loved, and I wasn't sure how that was going to play out in it, and I wasn't sure about it when it very first happened. But then, as that part of the story progresses, it just gets better and better.
Okay.
So I really enjoy how they handled that.
All right. Wow, that was fast. Next question is Red Dead Redemption 2 what Red Dead Redemption was to Red Dead Revolver? Is it that much of a step up from the original?
Oh wow! Because that's a massive step.
Yeah.
Because the first Red Dead is not this like massive open world like that. If I remember right,
You probably do. I never
I
played
think it's
it.
more linear.
I just remember you talking about it a lot. I thought you knew. I thought you were like an expert on it. But
Man,
guess
I
I'm
would
wrong.
say the jump is really substantial. And I would say the jump in quality and it being a sequel it's huge. It really is. I think it to the point where it is going to affect the open world genre outside of Rockstar games. It has to. It is that big of a leap. It really is.
Wow. Okay. Next one. So I've never really had the Marcus is an O'Driscoll.
Thanks.
The guys?
Thanks, buddy.
I think those are the guys at the beginning. I only watched a little bit of it, so that kind of rings a bell. But
it's not a compliment.
Never really had the cowboy fantasy. I mean, obviously, I think I don't really know like when that genre died out, but I think you were probably near the end, or you were like, you were at the come down. But I think you still grew up as a kid when it was like cowboys and engines, and that was just like you could just do that. Now it's like cowboys are they're not looked down upon, but it's definitely different. Like the only really experience with cowboys I have is like a couple movies that I don't really remember, and Cormac McCarthy, which I don't know if you've read any of his books. They're just the most depressing, dirty things ever, and they really give you a sense of like what it was like to live back then. Just disgusting.
Do you enjoy cowboy movies at all?
I haven't watched any, but
did you watch
really like?
Did you watch Cowboys? Hateful Eight?
I did. Okay, I watched Hateful Eight. I love that, but that's because it's Quentin Tarantino and like.
Well, and I think that Hateful Eight is actually a good representation of how the game starts specifically. It feels very kind of Hateful Eight. It's like the gang is getting together and kind of getting to know each other. There's a lot of gang mentality in it where you're working with your camp and your gang. So I think that that's kind of a good reference as far as like a movie. I would even say it's kind of like Tombstone and the one with like where I'm your Huckleberry. What's his face?
It's been a long time. It doesn't have
Kurt Russell in
it.
It's
I
an
love
awesome
Kurt
movie.
Russell. I should watch it.
It's a really good movie. Tombstone is, and then there's Unforgiven, which is like a Clint Eastwood movie. And I would almost say the first Red Dead is more like Unforgiven. It's like the cowboy who's out of the gang and gets called back to his previous life is haunting him, and so he has to go back and make amends for stuff. Whereas Tombstone is more like the gang coming together and that other before all that stuff, which again makes it more of that prequel.
Okay.
So, did I answer your question? Did I totally?
Well, I was gonna get to the question, but that actually helps a lot, and that's interesting. Tam asks, should I get the game? Is it like GTA 5, where they say the N word every 5 seconds?
No, they don't say the N word every 5 seconds. Let's see. Is it? Do you want to jump to that question right away? We're gonna answer that question.
Yeah,
Tam.
I have it.
Hang with us.
My list has no discernible order, but I want to go down it just so I can like keep my brain.
And let's at least finish the one that you started.
Yeah. So for someone who doesn't like appreciate the cowboy fantasy as much, who doesn't appreciate that, is that game for me or someone like me that just doesn't really like cowboys?
How about are you a big like zombie fan? Do you care about the zombie genre? This will make sense in a minute.
I mean, not...
Like, if something's got zombies in it, does that make you want to be involved with it?
Not really.
Do you like Last of Us? Do you appreciate that game for its quality?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you like Dying Light because of the things it does and it's fun? But you don't like zombies, right? Not necessarily. They're not the thing that drew you to it, right? I think that Red Dead will do the same thing for you with cowboys. I think if you love cowboys, it is the unicorn cowboy game. It is. You cannot get a better cowboy game than what they've given to you with Red Dead 2. But I don't think you need to be a cowboy fan to appreciate what has been done with Red Dead 2.
Because I think that's really important. Because it's hard to look at it and be like I don't know where I should be coming with this. And that goes into my next question. Is this like how hardcore of a period piece is this? Like, is it really like dirty, grimy, and grungy?
Oh yeah. Like, I don't ever bathe or any. My guy is really disgusting. He's constantly rolling in the mud and getting covered with mud. My horse is. When you kill an animal and you throw the carcass on there, the skin, he's got the big blood smear. Your shoulder will have it on it from where you carried it, and like its legs even hit you and leave marks on you. You're filthy and just out in the West. You really are. It's gross and dirty and dusty.
But is that fun?
I think it's great. They really capture the cowboy mentality. So if you are the cowboy fan. There's so many things there for you. Like I said, again, it's the unicorn cowboy game. They nail all those things that you want, right? I hope that there's a unicorn in there that we'll get to ride around,
could be.
right?
Wasn't there Sasquatches in the first one?
I don't remember a Sasquatch. Now
Chat,
you can't even look it up. Somebody look that up for us. Help us out.
I guess it breaks the illusion. I could look it up real quick. But so yeah, even as like not really a cowboy fan, there's still elements.
If you're a video game fan and you appreciate a game that does more than just reskin a game that you've already played, or that kind of like. Whereas for me, I'm not a zombie fan either. But the thing that makes Last of Us so good is the story and the characters and the way it looks and the world and the way they fill it full of suspense and present it to you. And like again, I'll never reveal the ending, at least on our show. So it is in the first one. Thank you, Dad.
And I looked up too,
I won't reveal the ending of Last of Us ever on this show because I want people to play it and have that experience. And there are elements of Red Dead that capture that kind of mentality. It's not as linear because it is this open world game. Yeah. But it has that kind of vibe to it for me.
Okay. Let's see. Next question.
Should we do a GTA 5 one? Do you have one in there?
That was the next one.
Okay. Cool.
Or the next two, actually. Will someone who likes GTA 5 like this game?
I think it depends on why you like GTA 5. If you like GTA 5 because of just the overwhelming abundance of chaos in that game and just like blowing everything up and like cars and that kind of thing. Yeah. It's not that, right? It's way more slowed down. The pacing of it is way slower. It's meant to be kind of soaked up instead of
marinated, if you will.
Yeah, instead of just gorged on and then you get it's not meant to be taken in like a glutton. It's meant to be savored, and so the pacing is way different. But there are things about it that I think you will appreciate if you're a GTA 5, because it's totally a Rockstar game. It's got the classic like parodies of like real world things that are thrown in there, and totally their Rockstar like comical way that they do. Yeah, it's totally all there. If you're a fan of that in GTA, you'll love that in Red Dead 2. The other thing that I think is important to remember about as far as comparing the two of them is that if you were a Red Dead fan of the original Red Dead, the online of Red Dead is totally the beta for the GTA 5 online, right? So you got to work as a posse and like ride around together and do like little like camp raids together and attack other posses, and like it's totally the precursor to what GTA 5 online was, right? So I feel like if you love GTA 5 and you want a small taste of what GTA 6 could be, I think you're going to get that with Red Dead. And I think a way to kind of look at it is Red Dead is way more open, but you have these little hubs of like civilizations throughout the game, right? Where Red Dead is
you're in
just
the Wild West.
Yeah. So I think it's easier maybe for Rockstar to come out with Red Dead and test all that stuff in these little hubs on a map instead of having a map where it just is one massive hub, right? It's way more for it to process, way more for it to have to do. It's a way bigger undertaking. This again is a good way for Rockstar to test the waters with all these things. And so if you want a taste of what GTA 6 is going to be, and probably especially GTA 6 online, you're going to want to check out Red Dead.
Okay.
I think that's a given right away. You'll recognize that as you play it.
And I was going to ask if it was as fast-paced as GTA 5, but you kind of answered that.
Yeah, it's not at all. Then I recommend, first thing, big, huge tip, when you start Red Dead, don't even worry so much about going off the beaten path. Like, let the story engage you in the game and just follow what the story wants you to do. Follow the path it's setting for you. Let that all kind of build up, and then it'll eventually hit this point where it kind of opens the world to you, and now you can dabble and do these things. But until you just kind of set the story in motion, it's very much more linear, and you just kind of have to do what the game wants you to do, and just accept that, and just roll with it, and enjoy that slower pace.
It's like the teaching of the mechanics.
Yeah. And so when I first started it, I fired it up. They did their first little cinematic, and I got to like go outside, and I was like, cool, I'm gonna explore the world. Yeah. And I went to go off, and it's like it just doesn't work that way. You got to let it unfold itself first, and then you get to do those things.
It was exciting.
Let that happen.
I watched the beginning up to like. There's a big shootout in like the forest. Yeah. You kind of ambush some guys, and it was like whoa. There's exciting.
Some of the mechanics in it are just phenomenal. Like in the beginning, when you walk out in the snow, you'll totally leave exact footprints where you
Oh,
are
yeah.
walking out in the snow.
Yeah, my dad and I tested that. He's
Yeah,
like,
well, and then you'll have to come back, right? And if you wait too long out while you're out doing whatever, and then you can follow your tracks back, but your tracks will totally start to fill up with snow.
God.
So now you're following half tracks back,
That's a
right?
lot of detail.
It's like, it's
Yeah.
super cool. That was the first thing I was really impressed with. And then the
Yeah.
lighting and everything also, but just take it as a slow roll, soak it in, appreciate all those little details, because there's a lot of them, and they're there for that reason. They really are, to really enjoy the cinematography of the game. if
Yeah.
you will.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So it's an open world game, and so is GTA 5. But I think they're definitely, they're going for different things, obviously. When I play an open world game, I'm often really compelled to, like, explore, right, to figure out what's going on in the world. I personally couldn't do that with any of the GTA games, just because just something about the layout of, like, one big city made it kind of hard to want to, like, go from point A to B or explore. Is there that incentive in Red Dead Redemption 2? Like, do you kind of get what I'm saying? Whereas, like, most open world games are, like, kind of a sort of, like, big-ish, empty-ish.
Yeah.
There's, like, a lot of little things to do, little things to collect, and there's sort of incentives to do that. But in GTA 5, I didn't really feel the incentives to, like, go work out, go do this, go do that, because it just seemed like it was just, like, so much, and it was all in this, like, weird, cramped city. And
Yeah.
or maybe that's just me. I don't know.
There are, so in the first Red Dead, which has started to happen to me in this one, is it more appropriate than GTA? If we get back to the GTA question, yes, I think it is definitely more appropriate. It is, like you're saying, it is like period accurate, right?
Yeah.
So you're gonna have some of those things going on, but none of it is done in this very modern, like new age, blatantly distasteful way. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's GTA is beyond offensive. That's the point of that game, right? The point of GTA is to be an asshole. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. Red Dead, it's not as much the point. There is like a moral system. So you can be the good guy if you want. You can help everybody. You don't have to be a bad cowboy if you don't want to be. You're always going to have to do missions where you're that guy, but in the just playing the game and roaming the world, you don't have to be. So I think it's way more appropriate. I still don't know that it's something to like entertain your small children with. And
Yeah, that's fair.
the case says it has a mature rating. Like one of them is nudity, like violent swearing. I haven't seen any nudity in it. I haven't really noticed an abundance of swearing in it. It's definitely violent. Like you can shoot a guy and have like his head explode.
Yeah.
Like if you shoot him close range with a shotgun, and like you can do brutal things like that. But I think there's a lot of games that get away with that anyway.
Yeah.
So if your kids are watching video games, they've probably seen a little bit of that. So I would say it's definitely more appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah. So to the open world game.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. Oh, Tania's got another question. Okay, thanks. I want to get it, but my parents will not let me have it if it's like GTA. No, it's not. I think you should feel comfortable with telling that. I've had
it's a history game. It's going to teach you about racism in the Old West. It's a mind open. I don't know.
And it's whereas like GTA makes all those things readily available. Like it's hard to not be an asshole in GTA.
Oh yeah,
right?
because you can just drive.
It's easy to avoid that in Red Dead.
Okay.
So I think that's a good way to look at it. I've had people ask me if their kids can play GTA, right? Like, hey, do you think my like 13-year-old son is eligible to play? And I'm like, I don't want to be the guy that says he can't, because I do think GTA is a phenomenal game that people should play. It just is one of those games, but it's beyond offensive, and I can't be the guy that condones you letting your kid play it, right? And I've asked my friends about it that I play with, and all of them have the same response, and that's that none of us should be playing GTA. Like, that's just the answer. Even us, as full-grown adults, should not be playing GTA.
I like the political. I think the political satire is some of the funniest.
Yeah. And
yeah.
you get some of those things in Red Dead, which is, it's totally a Rockstar game. It really is. But not nearly as blatantly offensive.
Okay.
If we get back to the open world, thank you for the questions, by the way. That's awesome. I really do appreciate it. The open world. I think the best game to maybe compare this to is maybe The Witcher. It's much more similar to The Witcher
segmented
than
maps?
GTA. No, it's one big map.
Okay.
But you know how in The Witcher,
You do something and then it comes back.
and it's like you're in The Witcher, you almost feel bombarded by missions.
Yeah.
And like they're in your face, and it's very aggressive the way it's like, do this, do this, do this.
Yeah.
In Red Dead, there are so many things that you can do that are just at your disposal, and constantly you're able to do them. but you never feel like you have to do any of them, which is really, really cool. It's one of the things I absolutely love about it. You can just be riding along on a trail or the road, and chances are every, I don't know, few minutes of doing that, there will be a random person that, like in a town, that'll shout out to you, that you can stop and just help them out if you want. There's different objective missions you can do along the way, but none of them feel like you have to do them to like unlock anything, or they're just there to keep you entertained.
And it helps world build, right?
More things will be unlocked as you learn about them, right?
Okay.
And it's done so well. That's one of my favorite things is you never feel like the game is overwhelming you, right? But at the same time, you never feel like there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool how they've balanced that. There's there's mission markers that are yellow, which will like progress the story, and you can go do those. And those, well, I'm assuming they'll keep popping up until I finish the story.
Yeah.
But once you kind of do those and learn the people, there'll be white ones that look just like the yellow ones, but they're white, and they'll have like the initial of the guy in it. And you can go back and then do like secondary ones that will kind of spin off of those initial ones that you did. Or you can just not do that at all and just ride around and randomly interact with people. If you want, you can stop and either make a positive or a negative comment to somebody, and that will spark something that maybe you'll fight them, and their buddy will get pissed that you fought them, and they'll jump in, and now they're going to be out to get you, and like you can spin it in so many different ways with all your options. But again, you never feel like you have to. It's so cool. That's one of my absolute favorite things about it.
Yeah, that's not something that happens often.
No, the balancing in the game is phenomenal. It's done really, really well.
Okay.
It's like the beer that I'm drinking.
Yeah. Oh my God. Do the side missions... Oh, do the side missions first, because if you only do the main missions, then some of the side missions won't be available again.
Oh, see, that's how I play anyway, so that's what I've been doing.
Do the side missions feel meaningful?
Some of them feel very meaningful, yeah. And some of them will actually affect the gang that you're in, right? Will like improve the camp quality or whatever.
Oh, that's cool.
So that is also really cool about it. But I think it all really does feel meaningful. I think I could see a person playing it where maybe that's just not the mission you like, so that one will no longer feel meaningful for you. But there's so many others that I'm sure will be appealing to you, and you can just sit there and do those over and over if you want, right? It's like how we play GTA, basically. I guess in a way that's how it's like GTA also.
Yeah.
When we play GTA online, there's probably more than half the missions that we play that we don't care for, but then there's this other half.
So you can
that are the ones we
replay
like.
the missions?
You can go back to a guy and do another one. Like one of them will be like,
but they're
let's
similar.
go raid this house and like rob these things. The first one is like a story one to tell you like the tutorial on how to do that, right? And then
that's
after
just an
that
option.
guy, that's like what that guy does.
If
So
you
if you want
like
to talk
doing
to
that.
him,
Okay.
you can go do that again.
It's like
right?
it's like Fallout, where it's like we need to retake the settlement, or the Brotherhood of Steel is like, hey, go recruit these people. But it sounds like it's good.
Yeah, it's I've never played an open world game that feels so vastly open, but still has relevant things to do to like fill your time.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
So there's always an incentive to do something, and it doesn't feel like pressured.
No, you never feel like you have to do it,
Wow.
but then you'll start wanting to, right?
Yeah.
Like you can only it's really pretty, so you can ride around for a long time and not do anything, but at some point you're going to want to go do something. And really I've yet to find one that I just like absolutely dread.
Okay.
The worst are probably the little short ones that you do with people that you just meet, where it's like this lady's horse collapsed and now it's on her, and you can like pull the horse up and
Kind of like
pick her up
Spider-Man,
and
like
ride
the
her back.
crimes.
Yeah, there's kind of like crimes and things that you can do. And they're still fun, and they vary a little bit depending on who you're helping in the game, but they get kind of repetitive, obviously, right? But there's a huge variety of them, so there's a lot to do.
Let's see, what was the next one? So I know you kind of already talked about this, but the satire is kind of what makes GTA. And I think that some people like aren't really looking for that, looking for like a lot more of a serious like story, serious game. Does this provide like more of one than the other? Is it like a good balance?
I definitely think it's more serious, right? It doesn't have as much of that over the top that GTA has.
Yeah.
So it's definitely more serious. But again, it's that Rockstar perspective of the Wild West, right?
Yeah.
So it is, again, it's like those movies where it's like it's the extremes of those things.
Okay.
Right? It's not, again, it keeps it exciting and entertaining to go to do that extreme version of all these. Again, I'm a cowboy fan, right?
Yeah.
So it's ideal for me to get to do all those things. But man, it's very different. It really is. It feels so much like a Rockstar game, and like the same company made it, but it's way more tasteful for somebody that's like a cowboy fan, right?
Yeah.
Which is different than the guy that wants to be the leader of a gang in a city with lowriders, and like that's just a different guy than the guy that wants to run the last cowboy gang before the government comes in and cowboys are run out of town, right?
But it still feels like a Rockstar game.
It totally feels like a Rockstar game.
Yeah, it's hard to. That's a really big compliment, I think, because I think a lot of game studios, it's kind of hard to tell one from the other. Like, I mean, for me, Horizon Zero Dawn, I love that game. But if you were like, oh yeah, the Killzone guys made it, and I didn't know that, I'd be like, you're lying.
Oh yeah, totally, right?
It's so hard to tell with so many games.
Yeah, and it feels like they made it for sure. But I think that something that Rockstar does really well is that, and I think they've nailed the model with GTA 5, is like if we take other games like Assassin's Creed, let's say, right?
Yeah.
Like they're supposed to all get better or whatever, right? But I'm a big fan if you can't tell.
Yeah.
But you get another one every year, right?
Yeah.
Instead, with Rockstar, they release a game, which I think is totally going to happen with Red Dead. They release a game and they give you what they think you're going to like and what their kind of their goal is. And then as you play it and the game progresses, they'll kind of fine tune that more based on feedback they're going to get, based on how it actually works and different glitches and just whatever things people find and the response that happens from it. I think they're going to refine it more. Just Red Dead. You're not going to get Red Dead 3, 4, and 5 in the next 4 years. We're just going to get this one that's going to get tweaked, and it's going to get better and better over the next few years.
So, would you say that the GTA that launched is very different from the GTA of today? I mean, not just talking about online, but like...
Yeah,
I mean,
and I think now, you
yeah.
have to talk about online.
Yeah,
and I think GTA Online is basically GTA 6. It just is. It's that vastly different
because
than,
they just
the
kept
regular
refining
game.
it
and
doing...
constantly.
They added a lot of
tweaking
stuff
and making it better. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I know that when they went into Red Dead, they were aware of that from the get-go. They knew what made GTA 5 a success. They're fully aware that that's what they need to do with Red Dead. My biggest question around all that is, will they do it with the single player? Because that didn't never happen for GTA 5. But I think it's...
The single player seems like it's I feel like it'd be more important to Red Dead.
Yeah, there's some really good stuff in GTA 5, and I think they really could have capitalized on that more.
Like they promised.
Yeah, and they did say, but then they never did. So I'm curious to see how much of that will happen in the single player, because I think Red Dead caters more to that, right? To that. I mean, you're totally a lone wolf cowboy, right? Like the single player is more appealing in Red Dead, so I could see them dedicating some actual DLC to the single player and letting you do stuff. Plus, it's another way for them to make $20. 10 million people are going to spend $20.
Yeah.
How many millions is that all of a sudden?
It's like a lot of millions.
Yeah, so I think that there's more motivation for them to do that with this, which again I think could be a precursor to what GTA 6 will offer now, right? Okay. So I'm curious to see how all that's going to pan out. If you're curious at all about Rockstar and the games they make in GTA 5, I really encourage you to pick it up. Even if you don't pick it up now, wait. It'll be on sale in 6 months for $40 or something. Like I think it's going to be worth
10
it.
years. Who knows?
Yeah,
depending on
yeah.
Jeremiah said it's just another Ubisoft. I think he's talking about the Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
it's the
same thing over and over.
I guess actually you can tell that Ubisoft makes a game.
Yeah,
because of some very specific details like towers and everything. I want to ask about that later. But I think the next one might actually play in.
Let me know if I'm just skating around your.
Oh no. I mean, I have them in no particular order. I hope you don't mind.
Yeah, no.
Okay,
just fire away. I think it's a good way to deal with it.
Talking about DLC, and some of my friends were talking about this. Do you want another Undead Nightmare?
I personally really enjoyed Undead Nightmare when I got it. To me, it's almost like the second, Infamous, the Festival of Blood or whatever. I super enjoyed that. I thought it was loads of fun. it's a different way to play that game. It was kind of fresh and new, but you got to do everything that you had fun with before, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And I feel like Undead Nightmare was handled very similar to that, where it's the same world, but you get to do totally different things, and it feels different from that. It's very fresh and new, a new way to do it. So I'm not opposed to it. I would love it if they did do that. At least have an Easter egg in there, or like a tribute to it, or some way to acknowledge it. But I would really love to see something new. Obviously, right? Like I don't want them to just now we're back to the Ubisoft thing. Where we're just gonna make the same thing over and over. Yeah, like just give me something new.
Aliens.
Really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And who knows how many of those things could tie into some sort of a GTA reference, right? Or Easter eggs there that could tie things together. Who knows?
We're getting into some of the big. I don't want to get into the really big ones, but I might have to.
That's fine.
So this
you left
one,
the screen too far down, so I can't even see.
It's 36 minutes.
Okay.
Dang dingus. Yeah, we're just getting into the biggest one. Every console generation, you think back, and there are a few games that pop in your mind.
Yep.
For me, probably Last of Us.
Yep.
God of War 3, Infamous 2. I don't know.
Great games.
It depends. Yeah, like the
Do you want to know if this is like the quintessential
game.
PS4 game?
Maybe not the. I mean, quintessential. I think it'd be hard to tell, but like at this point, do you think this is going to be one of those great games of the generation that you immediately think of when you think PS4?
I think that the same way The Last of Us did everything that the PS3 was capable of before the PS4 came out.
Had
right?
2 discs.
You should hear how hot and how hard that disc is spinning in my PS4. Like that, my system is screaming at points in that game. It's like I can't give you more, right? So I think that Rockstar's really tapping into the limits of what your PS4 can do. Do I think another game will do that before we get a PS5?
Probably not.
Probably not. I don't think
no game is going to be that expensive.
I don't think that there's another company that has the backing to do that, right? Like, I mean, I think that Rockstar and Take-Two won't like officially release how much it's cost to make the Red Dead, but it's like people have guesstimated with marketing and everything and all going on, it could be up as high as $900 million to make this game.
Oh my God.
And I don't think another company has those funds, right? Yeah. Will we get a remaster on PS5? Probably, like they did with GTA. But I think right now, if you want to play the game that is going to max out your PS4 and really show you what that PlayStation 4 is capable of, it's Red Dead. Like it's basically The Last of Us for PS3.
It's like it's one of the swan songs.
It's going to be a swan song. It totally is. It really, really is. Yeah.
But like, do you okay, I guess I should also ask, like, is this like prime game of the year contenders against like I guess what God of War?
God of War really is sitting high for me right now. I think what that game did was phenomenal, especially if you're a God of War fan.
Oh yeah,
right. Like it just banging on all cylinders. It really is. Especially by the time you get like halfway through that game, it's just like, oh my God, this is so good. Yeah. There's a moment again in like Last of Us where I love that that's not all over the internet.
I
it's
don't
hard
like
to kind of find,
that,
right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell anybody what happens in that game. Just play it. If you're a fan, you will so love it when certain things happen in that game. I think that this is going to be that game. A game like that, totally. And I think it's, like I said, I think we're kind of playing the beta of it right now, and it will get tweaked and refined as it goes and get better and better. Game of the year, I have to finish it. Again, I think that maybe that's more review episode. I want to play more of it before I stamp that on it.
Yeah.
Is it the Cowboy Unicorn game, the best cowboy game I've ever played? Yes. Hands down, there's no question about that. If you enjoyed the first one, get it. It's better in every possible way.
Jeremiah says it's already I think the console defining game. Said that a while ago, so I assume that's what it's
or even game of the year for him, right? Like, and again, he's even more of a cowboy fan than I am.
Yeah.
So
and he has a really like passionate history with Red Dead 1.
Yeah, and it's like, so I could see if that's you, hands down. This is, I mean, I think they've checked all the boxes for you. But for everybody else out there, again, I really encourage people to play it if you're a fan of the open world genre game, because I do think it's redefining that genre. It just is. So if you can appreciate it if you appreciate that in games, which I totally do. Like if you see my game shelf, it's a big variety of games, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
I love so many different kinds of games, but I love it when those games stand out for really positive reasons and they made their own mark, right?
Yeah.
Red Dead is totally doing that for me. So it just gets this massive level of approval. I think if you have a PS4 or this generation system, it's a must buy. You got to have it. It's just going to change games after it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My boss, I think I mentioned this maybe in the podcast.
I do not at all.
Fallout 76. I'm going to get Fallout 76.
I think Fallout 76 is going to be fun, but there's no way that it's going to top. In the beginning of the show, we said 10 million copies in 3 days and over $750 million in profit. There's no way that Fallout will come close to that. Do you think? Even half that?
Oh, well, I don't know
copies?
if meant sales. I thought Tam just meant just in straight quality. That's what I was thinking.
No.
Yeah.
There's no way. They don't have the budget. Which is awesome. I give so much credit to Rockstar for using the money, right? Like, we've given you so much money as fans of what you do.
Yeah.
And you've spent that money on making it awesome again.
Yeah.
I'm not a big, I don't like to condone the conglomerate, right? I just don't.
Yeah.
But when they do it right and they care about the people that are going to play their game, which I really clearly think Rockstar does, I'm all over it. Do it, man. Make millions and millions and put it back into the game, and it's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. What was I gonna say? Okay. So
Call me Kaz Strong Z. Was that strong enough? Kaz.
Strong Z. Kaz.
Or does he just want us to call him Kaz Strong Z?
Is Kaz? I don't get that. Is it a Fallout reference?
Kaz. Is that wrong?
I don't know. I don't know what that is. I'm sorry.
I tried.
I've only played Fallout 4, and if that's in Fallout 4, I don't even remember. Yeah, one
There's
nerd
so
point.
much in Fallout, I think it's okay to forget part of it, right?
So this is a criticism I've been seeing a lot. And it's about the attention to detail, and you're talking about all these things about how the horse flips over, the guy flips over, you're carrying the pelt on your back, and it's, slapping you, and you're slowly walking and trudging.
I got attacked by a cougar. I watched his hand go over my back and claw me, and then I, knocked him off, and I had the claw marks from his claw on me, and I started to bleed out of the claws.
Yeah.
Marks. That's insane. The snow tracks. Yeah. It's insane.
You pet the horse, you groom the horse, you do all these things to the horse. The act of hunting is you have to find an animal of good quality. Make sure to shoot it in one of the, not, I was like Super Saiyan. Call me Kaz.
Strong Z, like Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
That's what it means, obviously.
But you have to shoot it I assume you don't shoot it with a gun, because that'll probably, spoil the meat?
Some animals you have to. It's too big of an animal and your bow won't affect it. So you got it.
But there's definitely,
then switch to a
you
rifle.
have to be very careful about what you shoot it and where.
Yes.
You have to skin it, which is there's a whole animation for it.
Yep.
Put it over your back.
It's not the coolest animation, but yeah.
Walk to your horse slowly. Put it... Wait, it's not my name, and I say Strong Z because people think it's an S. Oh, people call me Cass.
Oh, not Kaz. It's Kaz. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for clearing that up.
Yeah. But you have to walk to your horse, put it on your horse, and make sure to get to a town soon enough before the meat spoils.
Yeah.
Some people are like, that's just too much. I want to kill an animal. I want to either I just want to get the money for it. I don't want to have to go through this whole thing. And there's so many things where it's you're riding down a hill and your wheel pops off.
Yeah.
And you have to go and you have to put it back on. And I'm sure there's a whole thing for it, right?
Yeah.
Does it ever feel God damn, this is tedious? Or does it feel does it immerse you? Does it take you out of the world?
Personally, I'm okay with those things. Mm-hmm. I think there are some aspects of it that do feel kind of tedious, right? Maintaining your horses, you have a ring around your core attribute of your endurance, right? And
yeah.
If the core fails, the ring sucks. So now you have to stop and refill the core. Sometimes things like that, I would say do feel kind of tedious, and it's I just got to do and it's not even the items you need to do those things are really scarce, right? It's not like bullets in Resident Evil, where it's it's cool that it's that way because it's so focused on that. I do think that part of it could be improved, and it might even get improved with like patches and things. But I think if you have to take that with the level of the rest of the detail in the game, I mean, hands down, it's a no-brainer trade-off. It just is. The level of detail in Red Dead will blow your mind. It just will. Like, even from like the foliage as you ride through the forest is insane. The level of plants and like different stuff that goes on when you ride through, you'll brush branches and like the individual branches will move when they hit your shoulder. And like,
that's
like,
not,
there's crazy levels of detail in this game. I totally hear what you're saying, and I agree with some of those people, because some of the things that I would complain about the game are because there's so much detail in it and obviously attention to that I feel like it was obviously missed in some parts. It's like, if you're going to make everything that crazy detailed and have 20 guys work on every leaf for every tree, like one of my complaints is you can improve your bullet capacity, right, of your rifles and not your sidearms, but your secondary weapons. And you buy a strap that you wear across your chest that fills with the bullets, totally cowboy style. It's awesome. So you buy that, whatever gun you have, it will change rounds to that in it, right? So you actually have those bullets.
Okay.
But you could have max bullets and have it be empty. You could have no bullets and have it be full. You could go out and shoot bullets and reload, and the amount will never change on it. So it's like, if you're going to have all that crazy detail in the rest of the game, I want it to hold the maximum amount of bullets I can buy and hold on my person.
Yeah.
And when I reload my gun, I want those to be missing in that strap. Like, why doesn't that happen? You can obviously change the amount that's in there because it's randomly changing all the time anyway.
I'm going to let the producer out.
Okay.
Producer Holly is angry.
Yeah, she wants out of the room. Trick-or-treater is probably coming. I think there's ways where they nailed it, right? All of the details. But there's some ways where if that was such a major focus, how come you missed these marks in a few spots? So I think that's one of its biggest credits, but it's one of its glaring faults, right? Yeah, it's one of its biggest drawbacks is that it is so good in all these other ways, right?
Like
that
the
these
tiny little details,
the littlest, stupidest things stand out as glaring kind of issues. But like they're so dumb. The bullets in my strap, are you kidding me? Like, why does that matter at all? But it matters because, seriously, the rest of the game has that much attention to detail.
But in any other game, it'd just be like, you wouldn't even notice it.
You wouldn't even notice because nothing else does it either, right?
Yeah.
But because I'm noticing every little thing in the rest of the game, that bugs the hell out of me.
Yeah.
I really want them to fix it. And that's something they could totally fix with a patch. And maybe they will, right? But there's little things
just
like
gotta
that.
complain loud enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
How about you
guess.
nitpick everything, Marcus?
Yeah.
Wasn't enough.
Well,
yeah,
and
wasn't enough, guys.
And they're forcing me to because that's what they did when they made the game.
Don't worry. That's what's gonna be on the 99 gig update.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's totally true.
You have to get a third disc.
Yeah. It does come with 2 discs,
That was
by the way.
so crazy to see.
Yeah.
It's been so
It
long
takes
since I've
2
seen
discs to load it on. I believe the initial install is really close to 90 gigs.
that. So you never have to switch the discs.
No. You just put the one disc.
Okay.
It loads everything on your system, and then the one is just a boot up disc.
Okay.
It took an hour to do it. Jay got it with the Pro, and I was really curious if the Pro would actually do it quicker. It took an hour on his also.
Oh wow.
So if that is at all something you thought would
Wait,
be
he has a
improved on the Pro,
He has a
it's not.
4K TV.
Yeah.
Oh. Speaking of getting a console, is it worth buying a console over? My boss did that. He bought a PS4 just for Red Dead Redemption. Hey,
I will say,
friend me on PSN. Come on.
I will say, it's the first game I've played on which is not a Pro, my PlayStation 4, that I'm super curious to see it played on a Pro. Like, I really want to sit down and actually play a real mission on a Pro with a TV that can utilize what a Pro can do.
Yeah.
And I want to see if it's that much different. Because, again, of that level of detail that's in there, I'm wondering if it's just like tweaking the focus lens a little bit it's just going to make it that much prettier. Mm-hmm. There are some moments, if that's because it's all visual now, I think when you're talking, I don't think the game itself is probably going to run any smoother, but like visually it's going to, and like the lighting might look a little better, like that kind of stuff, right? And there are some moments in Red Dead where just walking on a trail through the woods, while the moon's out, right? And it's like at dawn or dusk, and all that's happening, and the way the light passes through the branches and goes across your body as you walk through, it's insane. Like, I've never seen a game, especially an open world game, that does it to that level of detail. Again, I want to compare it to like The Last of Us or some like Uncharted, like those moments in Uncharted where you go into a room and that room is obviously not just remap textures of the last place you were, but like somebody built that room and like put in all these little details, and like it was this passion project to do this one little room that you run through in a level, right? Oh, like Red Dead has that everywhere. Like, it feels like somebody did that with the whole entire game while you're playing it, which is, it blows my mind that you can just do anything you want freely, and it maintains that level of detail through the whole thing. If that's something that turns you on about a game, bring extra genes, because you're gonna cream them over and over.
Tam's PSN. I think I have the app on my phone.
Nice. Now the whole world knows.
Let's see. Yeah, the whole world. Is it like, if you don't have a console, is this the game that's gonna make you want to like get one?
If you don't have a console, I think the price difference alone makes it a no-brainer to get the Red Dead bundle. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're gonna get a game in a bundle, I don't see why you wouldn't get this. I think out of all the games out there, the one to test, like I said, I want to see it for myself. The one that would potentially test your PS Pro is Red Dead. So why wouldn't you get the bundle with it, where you basically get the game for free? Right? You're saving $60, but you're going to spend another $40. I guess you're spending another $40 to get a Pro, basically. If you buy a regular one, you got to go out and spend $60 on the game anyway. Yeah. So it's $100 more, I think, for a Pro. So just spend $40 more and get the Pro. I would, if I didn't have a regular PlayStation, no brainer, would totally do it right now.
I'm friending Tam, so.
Oh no, you got important things to do.
Let's see. What should be the message?
I'm looking at a
yes.
Jeremiah mentions the Sony OLED. Keep looking at the Samsung QLEDs.
What's the OLED?
It's like the latest greatest. And then there's the QLED.
Oh, the TV.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am actually looking at the QLED to the Samsung. I want a Samsung that works with all my stuff, right? But we're looking at upgrading a TV, and if that happens, I might get a Pro just to be able to play these games on it.
Maybe wait.
Red Dead would be it is part of that nudge to make me even consider it, right?
Yeah.
Like, that was never a thought in my head ever before. Red Dead.
Yeah. Let's see. So, you're talking about how free the game is, right? And thinking about Red Dead and about your favorite open world games, all I could think of was Metal Gear Solid 5, because that is one of your favorites, right?
I do really enjoy Metal Gear Solid 5.
Is it as like free as Metal Gear Solid 5?
More so. I think way more so. Metal Gear Solid 5, because again, Metal Gear Solid 5 has like a hub world, which is the helicopter, right? You basically go back to you get evac'd to the helicopter, you set up another mission, you figure out where you're going to go. Red Dead, you just go. Like, there is no hub spot. And you can just go anywhere. And
but is it as freeing, like, in like gameplay, like just the options you have to do something? Really?
More so. It really is. You can just it's different for sure. I mean, one is a military stealth espionage games, but
there's a lot of guns, a lot of ways you can approach.
I think a good way to maybe compare the two is that I do think Metal Gear is like a military drama simulator, right?
Yeah.
It's very dramatic military simulator, right?
Super dramatic.
Fantasy, whatever. I think Red Dead is the equivalent of that, but for, again, being the Western cowboy. It's borderlining on that kind of simulator edge. I think those are some of the things that are the issue with it, where it's a little bit in between. Like, it's not really committing to one or the other, which I think makes it a little bit in the middle, but it has some real kind of cowboy simulator elements to it. That, I mean, they're fun. Again, I'm the cowboy fan, so that's kind of why I played it. So I like that it highlights those things. I think that the things that are wrong with it are so minor that you're doing yourself a disservice if it discourages you from playing that game, right? It just is. If you want to see where an open world game is going to go in the future, you have to play Red Dead. There's no way around that. You just do. It's setting a new standard, at least for that genre.
So, like, what does it have that other open world games just don't? What's different? What's new? Or what's improved drastically?
I think the biggest thing that makes this stand out from other open world games is that it truly feels open. It comes back to that there is so much to do in this game, but you never feel overwhelmed by it. You never feel like you have to do any of it, right? It truly feels open and everything is at your disposal, and you can take path A or B at almost any point in the game, or you can just come up with path C and do your own thing, and just it doesn't matter. And you can come back and then do the story thing when you want to, but there's it's just the amount of stuff that's just available that you can dive into at any time, but how comfortable you feel with saying, I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to go do this thing and have fun with that for 4 hours, and then maybe I'll come back to that whenever.
Yeah.
And because I run into that anxiety of like all these icons on the map. I've got to clear the map. Like I want to clear the map before I move on. I've never had a game put that feeling at ease for me as much as Red Dead does.
Oh my god, I wish.
That's a huge compliment for the game.
I
really
have that all the time. Like I've been playing some more Fallout 4, and it's just like stressful.
Yeah,
but
I've been doing a little bit of that. I get, but it's just because I want to progress the story.
Yeah.
But then I'll do something that's a lot of fun, and it's like, screw it. I'm gonna do that for today, right? Like this is what I'm gonna do today. Is that I'm gonna be that guy in this game and have fun doing that. And I've gone off to do that, and then been sidetracked, and I'll do that for a couple hours, and then go back and do the other thing, and then suddenly I'll be like, I'm kind of getting bored with those things. I'll go do a story mission again.
But there's enough to do where it's like you're just constantly having fun.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
Okay, that's important. What about like what about world design? Do you feel like it has a very unique map?
Well,
I guess that's kind of a weird question.
It's very similar to the first one, which again maybe comes back to it totally does feel like a sequel. And I think it's going to feel more like the first one as you finish the game. But I even heard stories of like somebody online playing where they just followed a guy in town that would like go to the convenience store and buy supplies to like work on his house. So then they'd follow him to the house, and he'd like work on the house and then go back and get more supplies and follow back, and you could actually watch him building things and doing things. And then as you progress the story, that house will literally be built more as everything's going on with the game. And the guy got irritated eventually. He's like, what are you looking at? Like, leave me alone. And then he'll keep walking, and eventually he gets irritated and wants to pick a fight with you, and you can say something to antagonize him if you want, or you can just diffuse the situation if you want. It's like, I had one of the things that I absolutely love about it that I do to every single person is I steal their hat. I one of my favorite. It happened right away in the game for me. We were in like this. I was doing this like crossfire back and forth with this bad guy, right? And so we're kind of taking cover, but your hat pokes out a little bit, and so dude shot my hat. It flew off, and then I winged him like in the shoulder, and he kind of spins and hits the ground. The mechanics of shooting and the reactions of the bodies is pretty good. But I hit him, and he falls to the ground. He kind of struggled to get up, and but I knocked his hat off when I did it. So I kind of walked up to him with my gun pointed at him, reached down, picked up his hat, put it on my head, and then just popped the guy in the face.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, that's such the badass cowboy dream, right?
Yeah.
Is that moment of doing that. And then I even, sometimes, I've only had it a couple times, but I've even like picked up my hat where I'll like knock it against my thigh to like dust it off and then put it back on my head. But everybody I run into, you lose your hat a lot. And so I just
you
decided.
saw him lose it at the beginning of the game, and I didn't really notice it. But then, like when he put it back on, I'm like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can steal anybody's when they fall. You can pick up anybody's gun that they drop.
Are there any like cool looking hats?
There are some that are pretty cool. One thing I would say I wish they did more was like in GTA 5, the amount of clothing you can buy and the way you can customize your character.
I heard it's ridiculous in this one though.
And I'm
like, there's
I think
so
I'm still
much.
tapping into that. I must be, but right now it feels pretty limited. Like I want to be able to make the Hollywood cowboy in like my leather gear with my chaps with like tassels that are a foot long, right? And like I just want to make him look, and I want to be able to buy different belt buckles and like just make him absurd, right? And I haven't found that yet. I think that'll happen maybe as I progress the story, or who knows if we'll get more DLC stuff for that. Maybe even like for holidays and things. Rockstar's known for that.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see how much more of that maybe we get in online, right? Because now it's more personalized. Right now we're playing the story of Arthur Morgan. So you are him through the whole game. It's not your own personal character. so I could see how maybe that restricts that a little bit. But that's so Rockstar to do that, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be in there. Again, I'm only halfway through, so maybe I'll kind of unlock more of those things as I go. But I mean, where I sit now, I can't wait to dive back into it. I have to thank my wife for her beyond patience of me just cracking out on this game since Thursday.
Yeah, people are. It's been crazy.
It's so much fun. It really is.
Does it have any of the flaws of like your average typical open world game like Ubisoft? You know, it's infamous for its towers, right? The big dumb things you climb up to. Oh, you see a section of the map or just
I've yet to run into something where it's like, to unlock this part of the map, you have to go do this thing that will now make you aware of this thing, and then like do the next thing and you'll be aware of the next town. So now I go there and do the same thing I did at the last town to unlock the map for that, and like zero of that. I have not had anything like that in the game. Everything just unfolds in front of you so organically when you play it. It really does. It does it as tastefully as it offers new missions to you. It really does. It is the closest thing to a living, breathing world that you get to just like coexist in. Yeah. Right? Like some games I think really hit the mark with combining that. Like I think Fallout is a good example of that, where like the narrative of the game is loads of fun, but the life that the world has is also loads of fun. Like one of my favorite things that happened that I hated in Fallout, but when it happens it's so cool, is like when when like a toxic storm comes up and like the trees start to move and the wind it's like you can tell it's coming, right? Like you don't really have a way for it to happen, but you can see it like rolling in and coming at you. So the world itself is almost like a character in the game of Fallout, right?
Yeah. Same goes for Red Dead.
And Red Dead is the same way. And I've never really played a game where it's like it blurs that line of distinguishing the two. Yeah. It does it really, really well. And some games totally miss it, and it's either it's totally about the character and the world sucks, or it's just about the world and you don't care about your character. Like I think that's the flaw of Fortnite for me, or it's the flaw of like Battlefront for me. I know those are similar, but that's why I don't care about those games, because there's nothing to relate to me personally. Right? Yeah. You get to relate to Arthur very personally and care about him, but you're playing Red Dead through his eyes, right? But the world you get to experience through those eyes is just as engaging. It really is. It totally is a relevant character in the game. They mesh it so well. I have a really short list of things I could complain about the game, and they're nitpicky. Like they're like the bullet thing, right? Where it's like you care so much about these details. What made you, like, who took a day off that day, right? Or what happened? Like, you ran out of time or what, right? But all my complaints, that's what they are. They really are. What if I said my foremost biggest complaint in the game is when you're riding your horse, your horse carries all your stuff, right? So your guy can only carry what he can hold on him, right? Yeah.
That's one of the biggest complaints that people have with the attention to detail.
Well, for me, when you get off the horse, or even when you're on the horse, you can pick your two extra weapons, right? Yeah. You always have your sidearms, but you pick your shotgun and a rifle, or your bow and arrow and a rifle, whatever it is. And you'll get off your horse, you'll run around, you'll have those, it's loads of fun. Then you'll get back on your horse and ride around, and some guys out on the road will attack you, and so you're like, oh crap, I'm gonna get off my horse and like take cover and get him, and you'll go to pull out your rifle, and it's like, where the hell's my rifle? It's back on your stupid horse, right? But now my horse is freaked out from the hailstorm of bullets, and it's way down the road, so now here I am with my pistols.
You can't whistle. Out of whistle range, your horse is gone.
Yeah, it's just like
you heard about that, right?
What, that you can't? Yes, once your horse gets out of whistle range, you can't whistle for him to come back. Yeah. But a good way around that is you can upgrade your camp to get a stable or at least like a post to be able to tie your horse to, so you can go there and call your horse whenever you want. You can do a lot of things from the camp. It's a bigger issue to get back to the camp from like any sort of a quick thing you did to the world. You can go from the camp to the world, but getting back to the camp or anywhere else in the world.
Is the camp separate from the map?
No, it's totally part of the map, and it moves around as you progress the story. Interesting. That is different than the first Red Dead. Like in the first Red Dead, you had the
The little hub city, right?
Yeah, well, it wasn't
Or
so
was
much the
there?
hub cities, but you had like posts that you could fast travel to.
Yeah.
Around the areas. Like you always had the fast travel points. This one doesn't have that.
You can fast travel from the camp, but not to it.
Yeah, but not back to it.
Okay.
At least I haven't discovered that yet. I haven't found a fast travel in like a town to get me back to the camp. You can take a train or like a carriage there or something, but you can't just do the same kind of quick travel. If I gave somebody a pro tip, which I give
Pro tip.
Jeremiah Babalu some credit on this, because without him sparking my interest in it, I just wouldn't have kept pursuing it. But one of the issues, things you can do to make money and help your camp and all that, is to do the hunting, right? And you can get hides and collect the carcasses of the animals and whatever.
Yeah.
For one, you should keep the hide on the carcass. I'm pretty sure, I've been trying to figure it out, but I'm pretty sure you actually make more money to just sell it as the whole animal, not skin it, right? Then you can carry more skins on the horse. You can carry one larger medium animal on your horse, plus some skins from others. Then you can carry two of the smaller animals on your horse. Then your horse is maxed. You got to go back to camp. You got to go out and do it again. If you steal a horse from somebody or from anywhere, just a rando horse, right?
Yeah.
You don't own it, but you ride it around enough and like feed it or pet it a few times, whatever. It'll eventually create a bond with it. And now that horse will also respond to your whistle. So at that point, now you can load up 2 horses, right?
Wait,
if you
can
go
have like multiple horses riding with you?
that horse, your horse will just follow you. Or once you get a bond with the second one, you can get back on your main horse and just whistle for your horse. It's the same whistle for both, right? But
Yeah.
they'll both come running. That other one will stay right behind you. Now I can load up two animals with my hunting stuff.
How many horses can you get?
So I've figured out the max, I think, is 2. But if you go get on a third horse, those 2 will respond to your whistle. So as long as you keep that third horse within like earshot and like running distance, you can now load up 3 animals. As long as you ride the third horse, the other 2 will follow you.
Oh, but you're not attached. So you
But
can
you
only
don't
get
technically
attached
own
to 2.
the third horse. But
Yeah.
you can get attached to 2.
Okay.
But you can ride the third one, which will like kind of pseudo make it yours.
That's pretty
So you can
cool.
load it up too. So it's like if you're doing hunting and you want to be better at it, that's like the biggest pro tip I could give you is
Okay.
ride that second horse around until you befriend the horse, right?
Yeah.
And then that horse, if you ever lose it, you can reload your game, and the horse will be back at camp. So, but that secondary horse will be your secondary horse and stick with you. And then you can find that third horse, whistle from time to time. They'll stay right behind you. You can now utilize 3 horses.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. Thanks,
to have
Babalu, who initially got me to even figure out as many as I could do. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm sure he's been cracking out on that game.
And even one of the things I love hearing from all my friends is how different their experiences are with the same encounters. Even like
Really?
we'll run into the same scenarios, and because they chose to do different things, it's just a totally different encounter. And I've heard that
That's
there's a
cool.
journal in the game that Arthur keeps, and you can go and look at the reports of things that he's done. And people can be at the same point in the game, and that journal will be just wildly different based on how you've been playing the game,
Yeah.
which is super cool.
Okay, that
It
that's
really
really cool.
speaks to just how alive this world is.
yeah.
If you want to see the progression in a game, especially the open world genre, and what it's really that it's capable of more than just a sandbox to play in,
Yeah.
right? That it has a life to it, and that there's things going on outside of the area that you can see in the game. Like
Yeah.
there's just things going on everywhere, and you just happen to come across it. If you want to really see that at its full potential, at least where we're at now, I say that alone is motivation to get Red Dead.
Okay.
You've never seen it that way before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask a little bit, just in general, characters, story, like if that's what really drives a game for you.
Yeah.
Or I mean, not as much lore probably, but like characters and story. If that's really what like makes you want to play a game, is this a good game for that too? Like, more so than I don't know.
I
Can't compare
I
it to
think
anything.
so. I mean, I think you're gonna get if you're just in it for the single player experience and you just want the story, you're gonna play through it, finish it, and be done. Basically, right? Like you're not going to totally engage yourself in the world and do all those other things that you can do. Even though some of those are some great characters that you would meet if you did.
Yeah.
the fact that you can cater it so much to the way you want to do it is huge. And it's new. It's not something we've had this level of access to. I still think, like, again, maybe you're the guy that can wait a couple months and save a few bucks, maybe get a used copy or something, because I'm sure there's that guy that bought it now, that's all he cared about, and he burned through it in, like, 2 weekends, and so now you can go pick it up for $10 cheaper somewhere. Yeah. I think if you do, it's still worth it. Like, it's totally worth your $60, regardless of whether you totally engage in the world. I think you're going to kind of miss the point of it a little bit, but I personally am really enjoying the characters. I think maybe that guy has to be more the cowboy fan then, right? You're not playing it for the genre defining qualities that it has, or the video game defining qualities. If you like cowboy stuff, though, again, it's the Unicorn Cowboy game. You have to play it. But it is, if you just love open world games and what they offer, I don't know that there's been one that offers it in the way that Red Dead is doing. It's really doing it at a level that I think that a lot of other games have tried to do, but Red Dead's actually doing it way closer than what these other people have tried before. It misses the mark here and there. Like, I'm not going to say it's a perfect game. It's not. But what it's doing is so much closer to what everybody else has tried to do for years and years now, right? There's been so many things in the game where I've been like, I don't know, I'm just going to try this and see what happens. 99% of the time, I can do it. And how often does that happen in a game, right? Like, you're so often restricted to what the game is going to allow, to the rules of the game, right? Like, there's the book of rules in Red Dead is so much more unwritten, and you're writing it as you play than any game I've ever played. Wow. One of them, I came across this guy, the Hellhole, right? You saw that in the video. And I don't know if this spawned the Hellhole, but which was this random glowing spot on the ground that was just burning things up. It was crazy.
Yeah, like a horse walked into it, immediately dead. If you guys want to watch it, it's on
the YouTube channel. Yeah, you can check it out. And it's just it's a weird glitch or something, I'm sure. Again, I think there's going to be bugs, and they're going to patch a lot of these things out. But there was a guy on the side of the road who was all loaded up on whiskey and was, at his camp, and like flagged me over, had his little tent and his camp set up. And I was like, all right, I'll go see what this guy's doing. And of course he just wanted me to give him more whiskey. I was like, all right, whatever. There's a couple little cutscenes and everything of him just getting loaded, and he ends up passing out. And so I went over and I stole everything back from him, right? Yeah. Robbed him. And then I looked at the campfire and I was like, gee, I wonder, like, what can I like throw him on the campfire? So I picked him up, threw him on the campfire. He totally caught on fire and burnt up in the campfire, right? And I was able to rob all his stuff and take off.
That's awesome.
Like, but just the fact that you could even do that. Like, how many games would have that and just even let you do that and have that interact with it?
Not
the way
many.
the wagon, when it went into the hellhole, the wheel burned, and
like
it started to fall.
Wheel
and like
broke, because that was where it first started burning, and then it slowly spread over the whole thing. I saw that. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. And like,
that's crazy.
Like, they remind me of things that you used to do in a game when you would find like a bug or a glitch in a game, and it's like, let's see if we can make the bug do this now. Like, let's exploit this and just make it goofy and fun.
Actual game.
But it's just something that they actually let you do because they're like, why not? Maybe in ways that's the way it. If you want, it's more like GTA. Like, you could be that guy and totally be the asshole
just
cowboy,
chaotic,
and play it that way if you want. It doesn't force you to do that as much. GTA, you don't have a choice. You got to be that guy.
It's the only thing that's like really
that's
fun.
The point of it, right? This one you don't have to, but if you want to, it's all there for you to try and do. And really, I would say at least 90% of everything I've tried to do, because I just want to try it and I'm just testing the game, it lets me do. That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
huge compliments for the game. Again, when we talk about it with everybody else, I want to get more into some of my complaints and like a few more of those fine details and what makes it super amazing and where its flaws are. But if based on first impressions, impressed. Like, so beyond impressed. It is doing things. Again, I'm impressed with it just as a fan of video games, right? Not even as a fan of cowboy stuff, but just because really I love games so much. What it does, if you love games almost as like an art form, right? this is doing it. It just is. It's making it a pain in the ass for all the other developers to hold this standard.
Yeah. And hearing you talk about this, I'm thinking again about Fallout 76. I think about that game all the time. I'm pretty conflicted on it, but I think I'm going to get it. But it's weird that like games like that are still kind of buggy and like, you know, not as refined are coming out the same like year as Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
Like it just seems like from what everyone's describing, it's on like a different level. But I wonder if
I would say the same thing about God of War though. Like I think God of War, the things that it did as far as like fan service and the linear like action fighting game genre, it did some things that I think it did so well. Like I went into God of War thinking this is going to be Uncharted 4, right? It's going to be this reskinned game where the only new thing they're going to give me
2,
Yeah, well, and even that I have really high standards for. I'll be shocked if we get that on PS4. That might be a swan song, and it will immediately be remastered on PS5.
Yeah.
Right?
Just wait for that one. Buy it on PS5. Yeah.
But
heard it here first.
Like I could sit here and tell you multiple complaints about God of War, right? Like I love it, but I love it as a fan of God of War, right? Also action game genre, but mainly as a fan of God of War. Whereas, again, I come back to Red Dead as I love it as a fan of video games. I love it as video games as an art form and what Red Dead is doing with that potential.
Yeah.
If anything, it has to face the major hurdle of doing that while still being an open world game. I think that's one of the hardest genres to do that in, right? To maintain focus, but be so open and expansive. And it really does balance that in a way that hasn't been done before. It's not perfect, but it's the closest thing to perfection that we've had to date.
How high can we hold other companies to these standards though? Like just on, like EA probably has more money than Rocksteady, Rockstar. Yeah, definitely more than Rocksteady, but Rockstar is like.
But how much of that is again now EA and Ubisoft's fault? Those are the two glaring ones of mine. How much of it is their fault that they're so willing to just remake the game and just dump something new on us as opposed to refining what they have and figuring out what the fans want? I give Rockstar a lot of credit for not making a game every single year. I do the same thing for Rocksteady. I think of them as
Santa Monica?
No. Is that right? Rocksteady?
God of War people?
Rockstar.
Rocksteady made Batman.
Naughty Dog. That's what I want to say. Naughty Dog, right? Like, they've had some misses for sure. Like the latest Uncharted, I'm not a fan of it. It's not the best one at all. It has some great stuff in it, but as far as overall game, it's just it's not up there for me. But but like Last of Us, right? Like that again for me was this genre-defining game. I have a lot of respect for that mentality of treating games almost more as like this passion project art form, right? As opposed to a cash cow. And I think that Rockstar has found a way to balance that formula so well. It's totally a cash cow, and they're going to find a way to make, just so much money. Literally billions of dollars on this game. Yeah. They're going to do that. But they are going to do it in a way that I'm hoping, right?
It respects us.
It's going to respect us as just gamers. Not only fans of the genre of game that they're making, but just as a fan of video games in general. You have to at least respect that and appreciate that about Rockstar as a company. Yeah. I think that's just a given. I'm really curious to see where everything goes from here. Yeah. I really want to see what Rockstar does with all their money. So far, I think they're nailing it for me. I'm really satisfied with all the money I've given, all the copies of GTA 5 I've purchased. I'm fine with it. They're spending my money great. So I'm curious to see what's going to keep happening with Red Dead. I really want to finish it. I want to get the guys on. I want to do like a full review of it and really dive into everybody's experience. And I want to see how different they all are. As far as like a first impression, I think we're kind of wrapping up, but I want to say, again, if you're a fan of just video games as a whole and you enjoy a game that escalates, that that puts pressure on every other developer to now uphold that standard. Red Dead is one of those games. It really is defining a genre, and I feel like if you don't play Red Dead, you're going to miss out on that moment when that happened. Right? Like, you're going to play the next GTA or something, but you're going to miss out on that moment when it grew up. You're going to miss out on the first few steps of your child or something, right? Like, you just came home and they're running around the room now. Like, those moments of watching them get up and stumble and fall a little bit, but still get up and actually go from crawling to walking. That's like what's happening with Red Dead. Like, Rockstar is walking now, right? Like, they've done phenomenal things, but if you want to dive in and play GTA 5 where they're in a full, or GTA 6 where they're in a full sprint, it's not going to have the impact of appreciating those moments of building up that endurance, right?
Wow.
So I think that's happening right now for Rockstar. It's cool. It's so cool.
Yeah.
I really have loads of respect for them. I think you should play it. It's beyond worth your $60.
You definitely sold me on it. I need to. God damn it.
And I hope you.
Yeah.
I think you are one of those people though that will play it and notice those little things and appreciate those things about it, because again, I think you
put a lot of open world games. Played a lot of ones that I don't
video
like.
games, right? You're not one of those guys that's like, I only play this or I only play that. You're willing to try something and appreciate what makes it different than the other game that you liked. It's something I also really enjoy.
Thanks for complimenting me. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're just like me. It's the biggest compliment I could give you.
Oh, damn it. Yeah, wow. Okay.
So play it.
I'll get it.
I have so many more good things I want to talk about it. I want to touch on some other, again, super nitpicky complaints I have about it, but they are there. So I'd love to hear what other people think of it. If you think it's a must get, please let me know. I'd like to hear your stories on it. And I guess on that note, should we wrap it up?
Yeah.
Please like, share, subscribe.
Yeah.
And have a safe Halloween. Drive slow out there. Don't hit little kids.
Yeah.
That always freaks me out. Just slow down, people, especially today.
Yeah.
To all the nerds.
Through all the fuzz.
Bottoms up. Let's get nerd buzzed. Thank you, Jay, Tam Tam, Dad, all the people that watched.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
So much.
It's been a good one. It's been real wild and
Marcus and Jeremiah.
appreciate you guys.
You're on
Nerdbuzzed.
Nerdbuzzed.
Dad's always watching. You're the best. See you, Tam Tam.
Let's get Nerdbuzzed.